In your professional opinion, is depression real, and is medication the right course of action to cure depression if it's real?
Depression is absolutely real. It's multifactorial. It can be organic. People experience depression after traumatic brain injury. They experience depression from a lot of different causes, and some of those can just be innately organic. Is depression a biochemical sickness? That's where the pharmaceutical industry wants us to go. And I think that that's very self-serving. I think the people that advance that thesis of mental health in general as a biochemical imbalance, as a master kind of global model for mental illness, often have a vested interest in promoting that model. I think that depression is too broad of a category to speak about it in a global sense. Is it a thing? I think it's. I'm always torn. Am I a splitter or a lumper? In the case of depression, I think I'm a splitter. I think there's a lot of things going on there. Sorrow and grief which can be interpreted as depression, are normal human psychological responses to certain types of stress. And to those that don't experience those things are typically psychopaths. It is a fundamental part of human bonding to experience loss and grief. And those that don't, I think, are dangerous in various ways because they are able to not have empathy. They're disconnected from the rest of their human and animal. They're disconnected from the world. So is chemical modification. I don't want to go all the way to say that we should not there should not be any pharmaceutical interventions available or other bioelectrical modifications. But many people experience relief from depression without having to resort to chemicals. I suspect, I don't know the data, I haven't seen the randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial, but a little bit of love goes a long way. And the same is true with empathy in combating depression in our world. Have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you. There seems to be some moral conflicts with maybe big corporations that might have the profit motive more than the human motive. The quandary of the pharmaceutical industry, where you couldn't say for sure that there should be no medication support, but there's a self-serving interest. Without blowing any whistles or pointing any figures, there is clearly a self-serving interest.
Well, let's call a spade a spade. The pharmaceutical industry has shown a widespread disregard for ethics, for willingness to live within the guardrails of government laws. They constantly seek ways to manipulate. It is a fundamental aspect of the pharmaceutical industry culture It is one of the most aggressive industrial sectors on the planet, and it preys on humans. It preys on it. It is intrinsically um, uh, built on a thesis of treating human disease, and it requires human disease to be treated in order to make profit. And having been in it, in the belly of the beast, uh, um, there is the logic. For instance, just one example. As one proceeds with clinical and non-clinical research for a pharmaceutical product seeking licensure, the anybody in the industry worth their salt knows that the axiom is you never do a study unless the regulatory agency forces you to do so, because you might discover something that would create some obstacle to getting licensure and making profit. Um, it is the pharmaceutical industry is predatory, has been for a very long time, and a case can be made that it's been the case since Rockefeller came in seeking some way to further monetize oil products in chemistry, organic chemistry, and basically destroyed the medical system and medical education system that had existed in the West, certainly in the United States, and supplanted it with another one that was based on the use of um, organic chemical based pharmaceuticals. And it's this is an industry that knows no moral bounds. It's about, I mean, it's not that everybody is like that, um, uh, but those that rise um, are typically very, very focused on return on investment for their major stockholders. And that profit incentive seems to supersede anything else. And you know, they can talk until the cows come home about ESG scores, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating. It's in their behaviors. It's in their fines. It's in their avoidance of accountability on the adverse events of marketed products. And the whole world has seen this. If they weren't aware of it before, we've now lived through 3 years of a demonstration of that.
When you say we've lived for 3 years in a demonstration of that, do you mean the...
Correct. And not just the, but the obfuscation, obstruction of the use of off-patent medicines to treat patients. I mean, physicians all over the world have demonstrated that early treatment saves lives, and yet it has been denigrated and obstructed in a systematic way all the way through this. And I've, you know, we even had Merck ridiculing the safety of ivermectin. Come on, guys. The database on ivermectin is massive, and it is incredibly safe. You can argue about whether or not it's effective, and my personal experience directly, as well as my observed experience and that of many of my colleagues, has been that it is effective in a variety of things, including in early treatment for COVID-19. But you can't say that it's not safe. The data are just overwhelming. And hydroxychloroquine is really quite safe. You know, this is what do they call it? Friday or Sunday or something all the way through Africa. Everybody takes it once a week, has been for years. It's incredibly safe. It's safe for use in pregnancy. It's one of the only drugs in that category that's safe for use in pregnancy. It's the evidence of pharmaceutical industry manipulation of this entire response landscape is overwhelming.
Hey, quick, before you go, if you want to watch the full, raw, uncut version of this episode in detail, no holds barred, you can watch it here. But before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on.